Nathan Burke stood at the edge of downtown Seattle with his daughter's sticky hand in his, watching a clearly frustrated woman turn a paper map upside down and mutter something he couldn't quite hear but assumed wasn't polite. "Daddy, why doesn't she just use her phone?" Lucy whispered, tugging on his worn flannel shirt. "Maybe her battery died, sweetheart," Nathan replied, then made a decision that would change everything. "Madam, do you need some help?" The woman looked up, and Nathan felt his breath catch slightly. She was beautiful in that polished, professional way that seemed completely out of place on this particular street corner at 8 in the morning. Dark hair pulled back in a neat bun, sharp business suit that probably cost more than his monthly rent, and eyes that held equal parts frustration and desperation. "I'm trying to find Pike Place Market," she said, her shoulders sagging with relief. "My phone died, and I have a meeting in 20 minutes. I was supposed to take a rideshare, but nothing's available, and this map makes absolutely no sense." Nathan couldn't help but smile. "Well, you're holding it upside down, for starters." Instead of looking embarrassed, she laughed, a real, genuine sound that made Lucy giggle too. "Of course I am. This is exactly how my morning is going. Here, let me see it." Nathan gently took the map, aware of how close they were standing. She smelled like expensive perfume and coffee, a combination that somehow worked. "You're actually not that far. It's about a 10-minute walk, but the streets here can be confusing if you don't know them." 10 minutes. She checked her watch, her expression pained. "I don't suppose you could just point me in the right direction." Nathan looked at Lucy, who was swinging their joined hands and watching a pigeon with intense interest. They'd been on their way to the library for Saturday morning story time, one of the few free activities he could consistently afford. But something about this woman's genuine distress pulled at him. "I could walk you there if you want," he offered. "We're heading that direction anyway." That was a small lie, but Lucy loved the market and he could spare the extra time. "Really, you wouldn't mind?" The relief in her voice was palpable. "Not at all. I'm Nathan, by the way. This is my daughter Lucy. Catherine Ellis." She bent down to Lucy's level, and Nathan noticed how naturally she smiled at his daughter. "Hi, Lucy. Thank you for sharing your dad for a few minutes. You talk fancy," Lucy said with the brutal honesty of a 5-year-old. "Lucy?" Nathan felt his face heat, but Catherine laughed again. "I do, don't I? That happens when you spend too much time in boring meetings." As they started walking, Nathan automatically shortening his stride to accommodate both Lucy and Catherine in her heels, he found himself studying her from the corner of his eye. She was carrying a leather portfolio and kept checking her watch, but she didn't rush them or show any impatience when Lucy stopped to examine a particularly interesting crack in the sidewalk. "So what brings you to Seattle?" Nathan asked, navigating them around a group of tourists. "You're not from here, I'm guessing." "That obvious?" Catherine's lips quirked. "I'm from New York. I'm here for a business acquisition. My company is looking at purchasing a local tech startup." "Sounds important. It's probably the biggest deal of my career, actually." She laughed, but it sounded a little nervous, which is why showing up late would be absolutely catastrophic. "We'll get you there on time," Nathan assured her. "So what do you do, besides acquire companies?" "I'm a CEO. Well, I will be officially next month. Right now, I'm executive vice president, but this acquisition is supposed to be my last major move before the promotion is finalized." She paused. "Sorry, I'm probably oversharing. I'm just really nervous." "Don't apologize. It's impressive." Nathan meant it. Here he was, a single dad working 2 part-time jobs to keep a roof over their heads, walking next to a woman who ran companies. The contrast should have made him feel inadequate, but instead he found himself fascinated. "What about you? What do you do, Nathan?" He could have hedged, but something about Catherine's open expression made him honest. "Right now, whatever pays. I work at a construction supply warehouse during the week and do handyman jobs on weekends. It's not glamorous, but it keeps us going." Lucy tugged his hand. "Daddy fixes everything." "I bet he does," Catherine said, and there was something warm in her voice that made Nathan's chest feel tight. They walked in comfortable silence for a moment, Lucy humming a tune from one of her favorite cartoons. Nathan pointed out landmarks as they went, keeping up a steady stream of direction so Catherine could find her way back if she needed to. "Turn left here," he said. "You see that sign? You're going to go straight down this street, and the market will be on your right. Big neon sign, you can't miss it." "Thank you so much." Catherine stopped, checking her watch again. "I actually have time to spare now. You're a lifesaver, Nathan." "Just being neighborly," he said, but he felt strangely reluctant to let her walk away. "Good luck with your meeting." "Wait." Catherine pulled a business card from her portfolio. "This might seem forward, but could I buy you coffee sometime? As a thank you, both of you," she added quickly, smiling at Lucy. "I make a mean hot chocolate order." Nathan looked at the card. Catherine Ellis, Executive Vice President, Meridian Global Solutions. There was a New York address and a phone number. He should probably say no. What would a woman like her want with coffee with someone like him beyond a polite thank you? But Lucy was already bouncing excitedly, and he found himself nodding. "Sure, that would be nice. Great, maybe tomorrow. I'm here through Tuesday." Catherine's smile was genuine, reaching her eyes. "I promise I'll be better prepared with a working phone next time." They exchanged numbers. Nathan painfully aware of his ancient smartphone with its cracked screen as she pulled out the latest model. Then Catherine was gone, heels clicking purposefully toward the market, and Nathan was left standing with his daughter wondering what had just happened. "Daddy, I like her," Lucy announced. "She smells pretty. Come on, Munchkin, let's get to the library." But as they walked, Nathan couldn't stop thinking about Catherine Ellis and the way she'd laughed at herself or how she'd crouched down to talk to Lucy like his daughter mattered. He'd learned to be cautious after his ex-wife, Sarah, had walked out 2 years ago, leaving him with a 3-year-old and a mountain of debt. Dating had been the furthest thing from his mind, especially with someone so far out of his league. Still, when his phone buzzed that evening after Lucy was in bed, he found himself smiling at the message. "Made my meeting with 2 minutes to spare. Thank you again. How about coffee at 10 a.m. tomorrow? There's a place called Bluebird Coffee I've heard good things about." Nathan stared at his phone for a long moment before typing back. "Sounds good. See you then." He fell asleep that night thinking about warm brown eyes and genuine laughter, and for the first time in a long time, felt something like hope stirring in his chest. The next morning, Nathan stood in front of his closet, which was really more of a collection of worn clothes hung on a tension rod in the corner of his bedroom, and tried to figure out what to wear. Everything he owned was either work-stained or had seen better days. He finally settled on his least faded jeans and a clean button-down shirt he usually reserved for parent-teacher conferences. "Why are you wearing your fancy shirt?" Lucy asked, appearing in his doorway clutching her stuffed rabbit. "We're having coffee with Catherine, remember? The map lady." Lucy's face lit up. "Can I wear my princess dress? How about your blue dress? The one Grandma sent for your birthday?" By the time they made it to Bluebird Coffee, they were only 5 minutes late, which Nathan considered a victory with a 5-year-old in tow. Catherine was already there, sitting at a corner table, but she'd traded yesterday's sharp business suit for dark jeans and a soft-looking sweater. She looked younger this way, more approachable though no less beautiful. "Hi." She stood up as they approached, and Nathan noticed she'd already ordered a hot chocolate, complete with whipped cream and sprinkles that had to be for Lucy. "I hope it's okay that I got started on the drinks. I wasn't sure what you liked, Nathan, so I waited on yours." "That's really thoughtful." "I'll just grab a regular coffee." He started to reach for his wallet, but Catherine shook her head. "This is my thank you, remember? Let me." Nathan wanted to argue, but seeing Lucy's delighted expression as she spotted the hot chocolate made him concede gracefully. "Thanks, I appreciate it." Once they were all settled with drinks, Catherine pulled out a small bag. "I hope this isn't too presumptuous, but I saw this in a shop window this morning and thought of you, Lucy." Inside was a small plush narwhal with a rainbow horn. Lucy gasped like Catherine had just handed her the moon. "Thank you," Lucy hugged the narwhal immediately. "Daddy, look, it's a unicorn whale. That's really generous," Nathan said, feeling oddly touched. "You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to. Besides, she helped me too, even if she was just holding your hand." Catherine's smile was warm. "So tell me about yourselves. What does a Saturday usually look like for the Burke family?" And somehow, that simple question opened a conversation that flowed more easily than Nathan could have imagined. He told her about their library trips, about Lucy's obsession with ocean animals despite living nowhere near the ocean, about the small apartment they called home, and how he was saving up for a place with a real yard someday. Catherine listened with genuine interest, asking questions that showed she was really paying attention. "What about you?" Nathan asked, watching Lucy color on the kids' menu Catherine had requested from the counter. "What's a CEO's Saturday like?" "Honestly, usually pretty boring. Catching up on emails, reviewing reports, preparing for Monday meetings." She wrapped her hands around her cup. "I don't have much of a personal life. This job has been everything for the past 10 years. 10 years? How old are you?" Nathan asked, then winced. "Sorry, that was rude. It's fine." "I'm 32. I started at Meridian right out of business school when I was 22, worked my way up, sacrificed most of my 20s to climbing the corporate ladder." She laughed, but it sounded slightly hollow. "Sounds a bit sad when I say it out loud." "It sounds dedicated," Nathan offered. "You must be really good at what you do." "I am," Catherine said simply, not bragging, just stating a fact. "But being good at business doesn't always translate to being good at life, you know? I look at you with Lucy, and I see something I don't have. This easy connection, this purpose that's bigger than quarterly earnings. Trust me, it's not always easy." Nathan glanced at his daughter, who was now making her new narwhal have a conversation with her hot chocolate. "There are nights I lie awake wondering if I'm enough, if I'm doing it right. Her mom left us, and sometimes I worry about what that's doing to her." "I'm sorry, that must have been incredibly difficult." "It was. Still is sometimes." Nathan was surprised at how easy it was to talk to Catherine. "But we're managing. She's happy, healthy, and knows she's loved. That's what matters." Catherine looked at Lucy with something almost like longing in her eyes. "She's lucky to have you." They talked for another hour, conversation flowing from topic to topic with surprising ease. Catherine was funny in a dry, quick-witted way that caught Nathan off guard and made him laugh. She asked him about his construction work, seeming genuinely interested in the details, and shared stories about her own work that she made accessible and entertaining despite the corporate jargon. "I should probably let you get on with your day," Catherine finally said, though she sounded reluctant. "But I was wondering if maybe you'd want to have dinner with me. Tonight, I know it's short notice and you probably have plans." Nathan's heart did a strange flip. "Just the two of us." "Well, I was actually hoping Lucy could come too, if that's okay. There's this place on the waterfront I've heard about that's supposed to be family-friendly." She looked almost nervous. "Unless that's weird. Sorry, I'm not really sure how this works. I don't have kids, and my dating life has been pretty much non-existent for years." "No, it's not weird. It's actually really nice that you want to include her." Nathan found himself smiling. "Lucy would love the waterfront. She's obsessed with anything near water." "Is that a yes?" "Yeah." "That's a yes." Catherine's answering smile was brilliant. "Great. Should I pick you up? Around 6. Nathan hesitated. Their apartment wasn't much, and he felt a flash of embarrassment at the thought of Catherine seeing it, but he pushed the feeling down. If she was going to be part of their lives in any capacity, she'd have to see all of it eventually. "Sure, let me give you the address." That evening, Nathan changed his shirt 3 times before Lucy finally said, "Daddy, you look nice in all of them. Just pick one," from the mouth of babes. He settled on a dark blue Henley that Lucy's grandmother had given him last Christmas, one of the few items in his wardrobe that didn't have any holes or stains. He'd just finished helping Lucy into a clean dress when the buzzer rang. Catherine looked stunning in a deep green dress that somehow managed to be both elegant and casual. She'd left her hair down, and it fell in soft waves around her shoulders. Nathan felt distinctly underdressed until she smiled at him, and that warm expression made everything else fade away. "You both look wonderful," Catherine said. "Ready to go." The restaurant Catherine had chosen was perfect. Nice enough to feel special, but relaxed enough that Nathan didn't feel out of place, with big windows overlooking Elliott Bay. Lucy was transfixed by the water, pressing her nose against the glass and pointing out every boat that passed. "See those bigger boats," Nathan said, lifting Lucy so she could see better. "Those are called ferries. They take cars and people across the water to the islands." "Can we ride one someday, Daddy?" "Maybe," Nathan said, which was his standard answer for things that cost money he didn't quite have yet. "I'd love to take you both sometime," Catherine said softly. "If that would be okay." Nathan met her eyes over Lucy's head. There was something open and genuine in Catherine's expression, an earnestness that made his chest feel tight. "You don't have to do that." "I know I don't have to, I want to." Catherine reached across the table, her fingers brushing his. "I'm really enjoying spending time with you both." Dinner was easy and comfortable, with Lucy charming their server and Catherine indulging his daughter's endless stream of whale facts that she'd learned at the library. Nathan found himself relaxing in a way he rarely did on the few dates he'd attempted since Sarah left. Catherine didn't make him feel less than, didn't look uncomfortable with the presence of his child, didn't check her phone constantly, or seem like she wanted to be anywhere else. "So how did you end up in Seattle?" Nathan asked as they shared a dessert, Lucy having crashed sugar-induced and happy against his side. "The company I'm acquiring is based here. Meridian has been watching them for 2 years, and I finally convinced the board to make a move." Catherine smiled. "I've actually fallen a little in love with this city. It's so different from New York." "Would you ever consider moving here?" The question hung between them, weighted with implications neither of them had quite acknowledged yet. Catherine set down her fork, her expression thoughtful. "I never thought I would consider leaving New York. My whole life is there, my career, my apartment, everything." She paused. "But being here, I don't know, things feel different, I feel different." "Different how?" "Lighter, maybe, like I can breathe a little deeper." Catherine laughed softly. "That probably sounds ridiculous." "It doesn't," Nathan said quietly. "I get it." They left the restaurant with Lucy half asleep on Nathan's shoulder, her new narwhal clutched in one hand. Catherine walked close enough that their arms brushed, and Nathan was hyper-aware of every point of contact. When they reached his apartment building, a modest 3-story walk-up in a neighborhood that had seen better days, Nathan felt that flash of embarrassment again. "This is us," he said, trying to keep his voice neutral. "It's nice," Catherine said, and she sounded like she meant it. "Can I walk you up?" Nathan's apartment was small, barely a 2-bedroom, with furniture that was mostly secondhand and walls that could use a fresh coat of paint. But it was clean, and there were signs of their life together everywhere. Lucy's drawings covered the fridge, toys were neatly organized in bins, and the small living room had a warmth that came from being truly lived in. "Let me just put her to bed," Nathan whispered. "Make yourself at home." When he emerged from Lucy's room 10 minutes later, having gone through their usual bedtime routine with a mostly asleep child, he found Catherine studying the photos on his bookshelf. There weren't many. A few of Lucy at various ages, one of Nathan with his parents who'd retired to Arizona, one of him holding newborn Lucy with an expression of absolute wonder on his younger face. "You look so happy here," Catherine said, pointing to the last one. "Best day of my life," Nathan said simply. Everything else has been worth it for her. Catherine turned to face him, and the expression on her face made Nathan's heart race. "You're a really good father, Nathan. I hope you know that. I'm trying." He moved closer, drawn by something he couldn't quite name. "Can I ask you something?" "Anything? Why are you really here? Not in Seattle, but here with us. You're this successful, brilliant woman who could be spending her evening anywhere with anyone." Catherine was quiet for a moment, seeming to gather her thoughts. When she spoke, her voice was soft but certain. "Because yesterday morning, when you stopped to help me with that map, you were patient and kind without expecting anything in return. Because you're genuine in a way I rarely encounter. Because watching you with Lucy, I see what I've been missing in my life by putting everything into my career." She stepped closer. "Because in 2 days, I've felt more connected to you than I have to anyone in years." Nathan's breath caught. "Catherine, I have to be honest with you, I'm not what you're used to. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, raising a kid on my own, trying to figure out life one day at a time. I don't have fancy dinners or corporate connections to offer." "I don't care about any of that." Catherine reached up, her hand gentle on his cheek. "I care that you make me laugh. That you look at your daughter like she hung the moon. That you helped a stranger read a map without a second thought. That's what matters to me." "This is crazy," Nathan said, but he was leaning into her touch. "You live in New York. You're leaving in 2 days. Then let's not waste them." Nathan didn't know who moved first, but suddenly they were kissing, soft and sweet and full of possibility. Catherine's arms came around his neck, and he pulled her closer, careful and gentle but unable to hide the want coursing through him. She tasted like the chocolate dessert they'd shared, and she fit against him perfectly. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Nathan rested his forehead against hers. "I don't know how this works." "Neither do I," Catherine admitted, "but I want to figure it out." They spent the next hour on his worn couch, talking quietly about everything and nothing. Catherine told him about growing up in Connecticut, the daughter of 2 professors who'd expected excellence and gotten it. She talked about the loneliness of being at the top, of always being the boss, never quite fitting in anywhere. Nathan shared his own story, growing up middle class in Oregon, meeting Sarah in college, the joy of Lucy's birth followed by the slow dissolution of his marriage, his wife's confession that she'd never really wanted to be a mother, and her subsequent disappearance from their lives. "I used to be angry," Nathan admitted, "but now I'm just grateful, because Lucy deserves parents who want her completely, not someone who stays out of obligation." "You're a better person than I am," Catherine said. "I think I'd still be angry." "Maybe I have my moments," he smiled. "Usually at 3 in the morning when I'm trying to figure out how to pay for her dance classes and new shoes at the same time." "Dance classes." She wants to be a ballerina, and a marine biologist, and a dinosaur. Nathan laughed. "Being 5 must be exhausting with all those career options." Catherine's phone buzzed and she glanced at it with a grimace. "I should go, early morning tomorrow." Nathan walked her to the door, reluctant to let the evening end. "Can I see you tomorrow?" "I was hoping you'd ask." Catherine kissed him again, quick and sweet. "I have meetings until about 4, but I'm free after that. Lucy has a playdate at a friend's house from 4 to 7. Maybe we could have some adult time. Just the 2 of us." Catherine's eyes sparkled. "I'd really like that." After she left, Nathan leaned against his closed door and tried to process what was happening. He'd gone from helping a stranger with a map to kissing her in his apartment in less than 48 hours. It felt surreal and impossibly fast, but it also felt right in a way he couldn't explain. His phone buzzed with a text from Catherine. "Thank you for tonight. Can't stop smiling." Nathan typed back, "Me either. Sleep well." He definitely wouldn't be sleeping well, not with his mind racing and his heart feeling more alive than it had in years. The next day dragged interminably. Nathan went through his shift at the warehouse on autopilot, his mind constantly drifting to Catherine. His buddy Mike noticed. "Man, what's got you so distracted?" Mike asked during their lunch break. "You've been walking around with this goofy smile all day." "I met someone," Nathan admitted. "About time. What's she like?" "Way out of my league," Nathan said, but he was grinning. "She's smart, funny, successful, and she actually seems to like me and Lucy." "Then she's got good taste." Mike clapped him on the shoulder. "Don't sell yourself short, man. You're a good guy." By the time Nathan dropped Lucy off at her friend Emma's house for the playdate, He was nearly vibrating with nervous energy. He'd changed shirts twice before picking Lucy up from kindergarten, earning him a knowing look from his 5-year-old. "You really like Catherine, huh, Daddy?" "Yeah, sweetheart, I really do." "Good, I like her too. She's nice and she smells pretty and she gave me Sparkles." Lucy hugged her narwhal, which had been officially christened Sparkles despite having no actual sparkles. "Have fun at Emma's, be good." "I'm always good." That was debatable, but Nathan let it slide. He drove to the address Catherine had texted him, a nice hotel downtown, and tried not to feel intimidated. The lobby alone probably cost more per night than his monthly rent. Catherine was waiting in the lobby, and his breath caught. She was wearing casual clothes, jeans, and a simple t-shirt, but she looked beautiful. More than that, she looked happy to see him. "Hi," she said, and there was something shy in her expression that made her seem younger. "Hi yourself." Nathan wanted to kiss her right there, but felt self-conscious in the elegant lobby. Catherine seemed to sense his hesitation. "Want to get out of here? I thought maybe we could take that ferry ride, the one you mentioned to Lucy." "Yeah, you sure you want to spend your free time on a boat?" "I want to spend my free time with you," Catherine said simply. "The boat is just a bonus." They took the ferry to Bainbridge Island, standing at the railing as the boat cut through the water. Seattle's skyline receded behind them, and Catherine leaned against Nathan's side, his arm around her shoulders. It felt natural, like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. "I have to tell you something," Catherine said, her voice nearly lost in the wind. "My board approved the acquisition this morning." "That's great, congratulations." "Thanks, it means the CEO position is basically locked in now." She paused. "But it also means I need to make some decisions." Nathan's stomach tightened. "About New York. About everything." Catherine turned to face him, the wind whipping her hair around her face. "Nathan, I know this is insane. We've known each other for 3 days, but I can't stop thinking about what it would be like to stay here to see where this goes." "Catherine," Nathan's voice was rough. "You can't append your entire life for someone you just met." "Why not? My life in New York is just work. Endless meetings, corporate dinners, my apartment that I barely see. There's nothing holding me there except habit and a job title." Her eyes were bright, intense. "Being here with you and Lucy, I feel like I'm finally waking up from something." "What about your career? You've worked for 10 years for this promotion." "Meridian has offices everywhere. I could run the company from Seattle just as easily as New York." Catherine grabbed his hands. "I'm not saying I'm moving here tomorrow, but I want to explore the possibility." "Would you want that?" Nathan's mind was reeling. The smart thing would be to pump the brakes, to tell her she was being rash. But looking at her, seeing the hope and certainty in her expression, he couldn't make himself say it. "I would want that," he said quietly. "More than I probably should." Catherine kissed him, and it felt like sealing a promise. They spent the rest of the afternoon exploring the small downtown area of Bainbridge, holding hands and talking about everything. Catherine shared her concerns about making such a big change, her worries that she was being impulsive. Nathan talked about his fear of not being enough, of her eventually regretting this choice. "I've built my entire adult life on calculated risks," Catherine said as they shared a basket of fish and chips overlooking the marina. "I analyze data, forecast outcomes, minimize variables. But some things you just have to feel, and this feels right." "What about Lucy?" Nathan asked. "I come with a whole kid. That's not something you can just decide on a whim." "Lucy is part of what makes this feel right." Catherine's expression was soft. "I'm not trying to replace her mother or step into a role I haven't earned. But I like her, Nathan. She's smart and funny and creative. And I think maybe we could build something together, all 3 of us." Nathan wanted to believe it, but years of struggling and disappointment had taught him caution. "I need you to be sure, because Lucy's already starting to get attached to you. If you're going to change your mind, I need to know now before she gets hurt." "I'm not going to change my mind about wanting to try." Catherine met his eyes steadily. "But I understand your concern. How about this? I go back to New York tomorrow as planned, have some serious conversations with my board about relocation, and come back next weekend. We take this slow, figure out what it would really look like, give ourselves time to be sure. That's very reasonable and mature. I have my moments, Catherine smiled. I didn't get to be a CEO by being impulsive. Well, not usually. They caught the ferry back to Seattle as the sun was setting, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. Nathan held Catherine close, trying to memorize the moment. Tomorrow she'd be gone, and despite her promises, part of him worried this was all a dream that would evaporate in the harsh light of her real life. "Stop overthinking," Catherine murmured against his chest. "I can practically hear your brain working." "Sorry, old habit. I get it. But Nathan." "I mean what I'm saying. I'm coming back." Nathan picked Lucy up from Emma's house at 7, enduring knowing looks from Emma's mother who'd clearly noticed his improved mood. Lucy chattered the entire drive home about her playdate, only pausing when Nathan pulled up to the apartment and Lucy noticed Catherine's rental car. "Is Catherine here?" "She came to say goodbye. She's going back to New York tomorrow." Lucy's face fell. "But I don't want her to go." "I know, sweetheart, but she has to work." Nathan unbuckled her and carried her inside despite her being perfectly capable of walking. He needed the closeness, the reminder of what mattered most. Catherine was waiting outside their apartment door, and Lucy immediately reached for her. To Catherine's credit, she took the 5-year-old without hesitation, settling Lucy on her hip naturally. "I brought something for you," Catherine said, carrying Lucy inside as Nathan unlocked the door. She pulled out a wrapped package. "For you to open after I leave tomorrow." "Can't I open it now?" "Tomorrow," Catherine said firmly but kindly. "It'll give you something to look forward to." They ordered pizza for dinner, and Lucy monopolized Catherine's attention, showing her every toy and drawing and rock from her collection. Catherine engaged with it all, asking questions and showing genuine interest, and Nathan fell a little more in love watching them together. After Lucy was in bed, Catherine and Nathan sat on the couch, her head on his shoulder, both quiet. "This is the hardest goodbye I've had in a long time," Catherine admitted. "You'll be back next weekend." "That feels like forever from now." Nathan tilted her chin up, kissing her slowly. "We'll talk every day, FaceTime so Lucy can show you whatever new treasure she's found." "I'd like that." Catherine kissed him again, deeper this time, and Nathan lost himself in the sensation. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Catherine laughed shakily. "You make it very hard to leave." "Good," Nathan said, but he forced himself to stand up, to put some space between them. "But you should probably get back to your hotel, early flight tomorrow." At the door, Catherine kissed him one more time. "Thank you for this weekend, for taking a chance on me." "Thank you for seeing us," Nathan replied, "for being patient with Lucy, for being here." After she left, Nathan checked on Lucy and found her awake, hugging Sparkles. "I'm going to miss Catherine," Lucy said, her voice small. "Me too, baby, but she'll be back soon. Promise." Nathan thought about Catherine's certainty, the plans they'd made, the way she'd looked at him like he was someone worth staying for. "Yeah, I promise." The next week was both wonderful and terrible. Wonderful because Nathan and Catherine talked every day, sometimes for hours. She'd call during her lunch break, and he'd FaceTime her while making dinner, Lucy dancing into frame to share playground drama or show off new drawings. Catherine sent care packages, a new set of art supplies for Lucy, a nice jacket for Nathan because she'd noticed his old one was threadbare. Terrible because Nathan missed her with an intensity that shocked him. They'd spent 3 days together, but her absence felt like a missing limb. He lay awake at night remembering the taste of her kisses, the sound of her laugh, the way she looked at him like he mattered. "You've got it bad," Mike observed at work. "Is it that obvious? Man, you're checking your phone every 5 minutes and walking around like a lovesick puppy. When's she coming back? This weekend? Friday night? And then what?" That was the question Nathan couldn't quite answer. Catherine had been having meetings with her board, discussing the possibility of relocating. She'd been cautiously optimistic in their calls, but hadn't made any firm commitments. Nathan tried not to let himself hope too much, tried to prepare for the possibility that reality would crash down and she'd realize this was crazy. But then Friday arrived, and Catherine texted that her flight had landed, and suddenly Nathan's hands were shaking as he tried to button his shirt. "Daddy, you look nice," Lucy said approvingly. She was wearing her favorite dress, the blue one, and had insisted Nathan help her with fancy hair, which meant a simple braid that had taken him 3 YouTube tutorials to master. "Thanks, Munchkin. Ready to see Catherine?" "So ready." They met Catherine at a restaurant near the waterfront, the same one from their first dinner. Catherine was already there, and when she saw them, her whole face lit up. She stood, and Lucy ran to her, and Catherine caught his daughter and spun her around, both of them laughing. "I missed you," Lucy exclaimed. "I missed you too." Catherine set Lucy down and looked at Nathan, and the heat in her gaze made his mouth go dry. "Hi. Hi." Nathan stepped close, cupping her face and kissing her properly. It was brief, conscious of their location and Lucy's presence, but it was enough to make his heart race. Over dinner, Catherine told them about her week, about the meetings and discussions. Lucy shared every single thing that had happened in kindergarten, barely pausing for breath. Nathan just watched them both, his chest tight with something that felt dangerously close to complete happiness. "I have news," Catherine said once Lucy was distracted with her dessert. "Good news, I think." Nathan's heart jumped. "Yeah, the board approved my relocation proposal. As of next month, I'll be running Meridian from our Seattle office." Catherine's smile was brilliant. "I'm moving here, Nathan." "Really?" Nathan couldn't quite process it. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." Catherine reached across the table, taking his hand. "I gave my notice on my New York apartment this morning. I start looking at places here tomorrow." "You could stay with us." Lucy piped up, chocolate on her face. "We have a couch," Catherine laughed. "That's very sweet, honey, but I'll need my own place." "With a guest room, though, so you can come visit." Nathan was still reeling. Catherine was moving here. For work, yes, but also for them. It felt too good to be true. "What are you thinking?" Catherine asked softly. "That I can't believe this is real," Nathan admitted. "That women like you don't just appear in guys' lives like me." "Nathan Burke, you need to stop selling yourself short." Catherine's voice was firm. "You're kind, patient, hardworking, and an amazing father. Any woman would be lucky to be with you." "Catherine's right, Daddy," Lucy said seriously. "You're the best," Nathan laughed, feeling tears prick his eyes. Okay, I get it." That night, after Lucy was asleep, Nathan and Catherine sat on his building's roof, an unofficial common area where residents sometimes hung out. The Seattle skyline glittered in front of them, and Catherine was curled into Nathan's side, his arm around her. "I'm scared," Nathan admitted quietly. "Of what?" "Of this not working, of you realizing what you've given up, of Lucy getting her heart broken if things fall apart." He paused. "Of me getting my heart broken." Catherine sat up, turning to face him. "I'm scared too. I'm terrified, actually. I've never done anything like this before. I'm a planner, Nathan. I have 5-year projections and backup plans for my backup plans. This is completely insane by my usual standards." "Then why are you doing it?" "Because for the first time in my adult life, I'm choosing something because it makes me happy instead of because it makes sense on paper." Catherine took his hands. "Do I know for certain that this will work?" "No. But I know that not trying would be the biggest regret of my life." Nathan kissed her, pouring everything he felt into it. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, Catherine rested her forehead against his. "I'm falling in love with you," she whispered. "I know it's too soon, and I probably shouldn't say it yet, but I am." Nathan's heart felt too big for his chest. "I'm falling in love with you too, you and your terrible map-reading skills." Catherine laughed, swatting his arm. "I was having a very stressful morning. I'm glad you were. Otherwise, I might have just walked right past you." They stayed on the roof until the night air grew cold, talking about the future. Catherine described her plans for transitioning to Seattle, finding a place with a yard so Lucy could play outside, establishing herself at the new office. Nathan talked about his hopes for Lucy's future, his dream of maybe going back to school himself someday, of building something stable. "What do you want to do?" Catherine asked. "If you could do anything?" Nathan was quiet for a long moment. No one had asked him that in years. "I used to want to be an architect. I started a degree in college but dropped out when Sarah got pregnant with Lucy." "Could you go back, finish it?" "Maybe someday. Right now, I just need to focus on keeping us afloat." Catherine bit her lip, clearly thinking. "What if you didn't have to worry so much about that? What if you had some help?" "Catherine, I can't let you support us." "That's not what I'm saying." Catherine chose her words carefully. "But relationships are partnerships, right? We help each other. Maybe I help with some of the financial stress, and you help me figure out how to have a life outside of work. We balance each other out. I need to be able to provide for my daughter. And you do. You work 2 jobs to make sure she has everything she needs. That's providing, Nathan." Catherine touched his face gently. "I'm not trying to take that away from you or make you feel less than. I just want to be part of your life, and that means helping where I can." Nathan knew she was right, but years of struggling alone made it hard to accept help. "Can we take it slow? Figure this out as we go? Of course, I'm not trying to rush anything." Catherine kissed him softly. "Well, except moving across the country for a guy I met a week ago. That's a little rushed. Just a little." They made out like teenagers until they heard other residents coming up to the roof, then reluctantly headed back to Nathan's apartment. At his door, Catherine kissed him goodnight, long and deep and full of promise. "I'll call you tomorrow," she said. "I'm apartment hunting all day, but I want to hear Lucy's voice. We'll be waiting." The next few weeks fell into a pattern. Catherine came to Seattle every weekend, staying in her hotel but spending most of her time with Nathan and Lucy. During the week, they talked constantly, building something real and lasting through phone calls and video chats. Lucy grew more comfortable with Catherine, sometimes asking for Catherine specifically when she had something to share. Nathan watched carefully, making sure his daughter wasn't getting too attached too fast. But Lucy seemed to understand that Catherine was becoming part of their lives. She started saying things like, "When Catherine moves here," and "Catherine and I both like dolphins," and Nathan's heart grew fuller with each casual integration. For her part, Catherine threw herself into the relocation with characteristic efficiency. She found an apartment, a nice 2-bedroom in a neighborhood with good schools and close to Nathan's place. She hired movers, coordinated with her team, and somehow managed to make the transition look effortless. "I can't believe you're actually doing this," Nathan said one Friday night when Catherine arrived, this time with a carload of her belongings. "Believe it." Catherine kissed him, and he could taste her smile. "I'm all in." Moving day arrived on a sunny Saturday in October. Nathan took the day off from his weekend handyman gigs, and he and Lucy showed up at Catherine's new apartment with cleaning supplies and enthusiasm. Other people from Meridian's Seattle office were there too, and Nathan felt slightly awkward until Catherine's assistant, a friendly guy named James, immediately engaged him in conversation about sports and made him feel welcome. "You're the famous Nathan," James said with a grin. "Catherine hasn't shut up about you for weeks. She talks about me. Are you kidding? It's Nathan this, Nathan and Lucy that. I've seen pictures of Lucy's art projects." James laughed. "In 10 years of working for Catherine, I've never seen her like this. You must be pretty special." Nathan felt warmth spread through his chest. He looked over to where Catherine was directing furniture placement, Lucy helping by dancing around with sparkles. Catherine caught his eye and smiled, and he smiled back, and something passed between them that felt like understanding. By evening, the apartment was mostly organized, boxes stacked neatly for unpacking, furniture in place. Everyone else had left, and Lucy had fallen asleep on Catherine's new couch, exhausted from helping all day. "She's out cold," Nathan said, brushing his daughter's hair back from her face. "She worked hard today," Catherine said fondly. She looked around her apartment, her expression contemplative. "This is real now. I live here in Seattle, near you." Having second thoughts, not even a little. Catherine moved into his arms, and Nathan held her close, breathing in the scent of her shampoo. "This feels right." They kissed slowly, taking their time, the tension that had been building between them for weeks reaching a crescendo. Nathan wanted her desperately, but Lucy was right there, and this wasn't the time. Catherine pulled back with a regretful laugh. "Terrible timing." "The worst," Nathan agreed, "but Lucy's always going to be a factor." "I know, and I love that about you, that she's always your priority." Catherine kissed him once more, quick and sweet. "We'll figure it out." Over the next few weeks, they did. They established routines. Catherine would come over for dinner several nights a week, often bringing groceries and cooking with Nathan, teaching him recipes she'd learned from her grandmother. They'd help Lucy with homework, play games, and Catherine would read bedtime stories in different voices that made Lucy giggle. On weekends, they'd explore Seattle together as a little family unit. The zoo, the aquarium, parks, and playgrounds. Lucy held both their hands, swinging between them, chattering constantly. People probably assumed they were a family already, and Nathan found he liked that assumption more than he probably should. Nathan also made sure to create adult time. Once every couple of weeks, his parents would drive up from Portland where they were visiting Nathan's sister, and they'd watch Lucy overnight. Those nights, Nathan and Catherine would have real dates, sometimes going out to nice restaurants or shows, sometimes just staying at Catherine's place and talking until dawn, making out on her couch like they had all the time in the world. "Tell me something nobody else knows about you," Nathan said one night, lying with his head in Catherine's lap while she played with his hair. Catherine was quiet for a moment. "I never wanted the CEO job, not really." Nathan sat up, surprised. "What?" "I mean, I worked for it, and I'm good at it. But I spent so many years climbing because I thought that's what success looked like. Achievement, titles, corner offices." She sighed. "But I've never been passionate about it, not like some people are. It was just what I was good at, so I kept doing it." "Do you regret it?" "No, it brought me here to you. But sometimes I wonder what I would have done if I'd been braver when I was younger, maybe something creative. I loved painting when I was a kid." Catherine laughed. "I haven't picked up a brush in 15 years. "You should start again," Nathan said. "Lucy would love painting with you." "Maybe I will." Catherine bent down to kiss him. "Your turn. Tell me something nobody knows." Nathan thought about it. "Sometimes I'm angry at Sarah." "I know I said I'm not, and mostly that's true. But sometimes, late at night, I'm furious that she walked away so easily from this amazing kid, that she's missing everything." "That's fair," Catherine said softly. "You're allowed to be angry. It doesn't help anything." "Feelings don't have to be helpful, they just are." Catherine's fingers traced patterns on his shoulder. "For what it's worth, I think Sarah's an idiot. Lucy is incredible." "She really is," Nathan agreed. "I got so lucky with her." As November arrived, bringing rain and early darkness, Nathan realized something had shifted. He wasn't just falling for Catherine anymore. He was completely, irrevocably in love with her. It was there in the way his heart lifted when he heard her voice, the way he constantly thought of little things to tell her, the way he wanted to build a future that had her in every part of it. The realization should have been terrifying, but instead it felt inevitable, like something that had been true from the moment she'd looked up from that upside-down map with frustration and hope in her eyes. He told her on a rainy Tuesday evening. Catherine had come over after work, bringing takeout because Nathan was exhausted from a long shift. Lucy was at her weekly dance class, giving them a rare hour alone. They were curled up on his couch, Catherine in one of his hoodies because she claimed it was more comfortable than her work clothes, and Nathan just looked at her, and the words came out. "I love you." Catherine's eyes widened. "What?" "I love you," Nathan repeated, his heart pounding but his voice steady. "I'm completely in love with you, Catherine, with your drive and your kindness and the way you laugh at yourself. With how you are with Lucy, patient and engaged and real, with everything you are. Nathan. Catherine's eyes were bright with tears. I love you too, so much. They kissed, and it was different from before. Deeper, more certain, a promise sealed. When they pulled apart, both of them were smiling through happy tears. So what now? Catherine asked. Now we keep building this, Nathan said simply. Together. Together, Catherine agreed. I like the sound of that. When Lucy came home from dance class, bursting through the door with her usual energy, she stopped short at seeing them curled up together on the couch. Are you guys mushy? She demanded. Very mushy, Catherine confirmed, making Lucy giggle. Gross, Lucy declared, but she climbed up between them anyway, settling in like she belonged there. Nathan looked at the two people he loved most in the world and felt something settle in his chest. This was his family, odd and unexpected as it was. This was home. As winter settled over Seattle, Nathan and Catherine's relationship deepened and evolved. They had their first real fight in December over something silly. Catherine had wanted to buy Lucy an expensive toy for Christmas, and Nathan had objected, feeling like Catherine was overstepping. It had escalated, both of them stubborn, until Catherine left his apartment upset. Nathan spent a miserable night second-guessing everything until his phone rang at 2 a.m. I'm sorry, Catherine said immediately. You were right. I should have asked you first. I'm sorry, too. I was too harsh, Nathan sighed. We're still figuring out how this works. Yeah, we are. But Nathan, I want to figure it out. I want to work through the fights and find our rhythm and build something lasting. She paused. Can I come over? I can't sleep and I miss you. It's 2 a.m. I don't care, Nathan smiled into the darkness. Come over. They talked it out, establishing boundaries and expectations, learning how to communicate better. It wasn't always easy, but they were both committed to making it work. Christmas arrived, and for the first time in years, Nathan felt excited about the holiday. Catherine insisted on contributing to Lucy's presents, and they compromised. Catherine handling the big gift Lucy really wanted, a dollhouse, while Nathan took care of everything else. On Christmas morning, Lucy's face when she saw the dollhouse made every compromise worth it. Santa is the best. Lucy squealed, running to hug both Nathan and Catherine. Thank you, thank you. Santa had some help, Nathan said, smiling at Catherine over Lucy's head. That afternoon, they had dinner at Catherine's apartment, the three of them plus Nathan's parents who'd driven up from Portland. Nathan watched Catherine charm his parents, answering his mother's questions about her work and laughing at his father's terrible jokes. His mom caught his eye and gave him an approving nod, and Nathan felt warmth spread through his chest. She's wonderful, Nathan's mother said later, cornering him in Catherine's kitchen. I haven't seen you this happy in years. I'm terrified, Nathan admitted quietly, that it's too good to be true. Nathan, honey, you deserve good things, so does Lucy. His mother squeezed his hand. Don't sabotage your own happiness. As the new year arrived, Catherine got news that required another discussion. The board wanted her in New York for a week in February for annual meetings. Come with me, Catherine said. You and Lucy both. I'll cover everything. We'll make a vacation out of it. Catherine, I can't just take a week off work. Can't or won't. Catherine's expression was challenging. When's the last time you took a vacation, Nathan? When's the last time Lucy saw somewhere beyond Seattle? That's not fair. I know it's not. I'm sorry. Catherine softened. But I'm not trying to throw money around or make you uncomfortable. I'm asking the person I love to come with me on a trip so we can be together. Is that so wrong? Nathan thought about Lucy, who'd never been on a plane, never seen the ocean or big buildings or any of the things he'd always wanted to show her. Thought about a week with Catherine without the stress of work. Okay, he said finally. We'll come. Lucy was ecstatic when they told her. We're going on an airplane, a real one. A real one, Catherine confirmed, laughing at Lucy's excitement. The trip to New York was eye-opening. Nathan saw Catherine's other life, the one she'd left behind. Her apartment there was beautiful and impersonal, already mostly packed up. Her office was sleek glass and chrome, intimidatingly professional. The people she worked with treated her with respect that bordered on reverence. "This was your life," Nathan said, looking out the window of her office at the Manhattan skyline. "It was, but it never felt like a life, really." "Just work." Catherine came to stand beside him. "Seattle feels like living. You and Lucy feel like living." They did tourist things with Lucy, the Statue of Liberty and Central Park, and a Broadway show that left Lucy wide-eyed and amazed. But Nathan was glad when the week ended, ready to return to Seattle and normalcy. On the flight home, Lucy asleep between them, Catherine took Nathan's hand. "Thank you for coming. It meant a lot, having you both there." "Thank you for sharing that part of your life with us," Nathan replied. "And for leaving it for us." "Best decision I ever made," Catherine said, and she meant it. Spring arrived, bringing longer days and cherry blossoms. Nathan and Catherine had been together for almost 6 months, and Lucy's 6th birthday was approaching. They planned a party, Nathan handling logistics while Catherine took charge of decorations and cake. It felt natural, this partnership, this team they'd become. The party was a success. Lucy's kindergarten friends running wild in the park while adults supervised. Nathan's parents were there, and some of Catherine's colleagues from Meridian who'd become friends. Watching everyone mix and mingle, watching Lucy blow out her candles while Catherine helped her, Nathan felt overwhelming gratitude. After the party, after Lucy was in bed exhausted and happy, Catherine stayed over. They lay in Nathan's bed, the first time she'd stayed the entire night there, and Nathan felt the rightness of it settle over him. "I've been thinking about something," Catherine said quietly. "Yeah." "My lease is up in 2 months. She turned to face him. "What would you think about us finding a place together? Something bigger with a yard for Lucy, a home for all 3 of us." Nathan's heart raced. "That's a big step." "I know, and if you're not ready, I understand." "But Nathan, we're building a life together. We're a family in everything but paperwork. It feels like the natural next step." "What about Lucy? I need to talk to her first, make sure she's comfortable." "Of course." Catherine kissed him softly. "Think about it, talk to Lucy, no pressure." But when Nathan mentioned it to Lucy the next morning, carefully feeling out her thoughts, she surprised him. "You mean Catherine would live with us? Like all the time?" "Yeah, sweetheart, in a new house with more space." "Would I get my own room?" "Definitely." Lucy was quiet for a moment, thinking. "Would Catherine be my mom then?" Nathan's breath caught. "That's up to you, honey. Catherine loves you very much, but she's not trying to replace anyone. You can call her Catherine or whatever feels right." "I like Catherine," Lucy said. "Mom left, but Catherine stayed. I want her to live with us, Daddy." Nathan felt tears prick his eyes. "Okay, baby, then we'll find a house together." House hunting was an adventure. Nathan insisted on contributing, refusing to let Catherine pay for everything, so they looked for places in their combined budget. It took weeks, but they finally found it, a 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood with good schools. It needed work, but Nathan could handle repairs and Catherine loved the potential. "This is it," Catherine said, standing in the empty living room and turning in a circle. "This is our home." They moved in at the end of May, a year after Nathan had first helped Catherine read that map. As they unpacked boxes and arranged furniture, Lucy running from room to room excitedly claiming spaces, Nathan felt like his life had finally clicked into place. That night, after Lucy was asleep in her new room with sparkles and a dozen other stuffed animals, Nathan and Catherine stood on their back porch, looking at the yard that would need work but was theirs. "A year ago, I was lost in Seattle with a dead phone," Catherine said, leaning against Nathan's chest. "Now I'm home." "A year ago, I was just trying to get through each day," Nathan added. "Now I'm actually living." Catherine turned in his arms, her expression serious. "I want to marry you." Nathan's heart stopped. "What?" "I know it's sudden and I'm probably doing this wrong. I don't have a ring or a perfect plan, but Nathan, I love you. I love Lucy. I want to build a life with both of you officially. I want to be a family in every way that matters." Catherine's eyes were bright. "Will you marry me?" Nathan felt tears streaming down his face. Yes, yes, absolutely yes. They kissed, laughing and crying at the same time, and Nathan felt like his heart might burst. When they pulled apart, he cupped her face gently. "I don't have a ring for you either," he said. "But I promise you, I will spend every day for the rest of my life loving you, supporting you, being your partner in everything." "That's all I need," Catherine whispered. They told Lucy the next morning over pancakes. Lucy looked between them, processing, then smiled so wide it nearly split her face. "So Catherine is going to be my other mom. If you want her to be," Nathan said carefully. "I do." Lucy jumped up, running to hug Catherine. "I want you to be my mom." Catherine held Lucy close, tears streaming down her face. "I would be so honored, sweetheart." The wedding planning was simpler than expected. Neither Nathan nor Catherine wanted anything elaborate, just something meaningful with the people they loved. They chose September, giving them a few months to prepare. Nathan's parents were overjoyed. Catherine's parents, who Nathan met via video call initially, were more reserved but warmed up when they saw how happy their daughter was. Lucy was incredibly excited about being a flower girl, practicing her walk constantly and showing everyone her dress. She'd started calling Catherine Mama K naturally, and Catherine's eyes got misty every time. "I never thought I'd have this," Catherine confessed one night in August. "A family, a child, someone who loves me for who I am rather than what I do." "I never thought I'd trust anyone enough to build this again," Nathan replied. "You changed everything, Catherine." The wedding day arrived sunny and perfect. They got married in a park overlooking Puget Sound, surrounded by friends and family. Lucy did her flower girl duties perfectly, then stood with them during the ceremony, holding both their hands. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Lucy piped up with, "I don't object." "I want them to get married," making everyone laugh. Nathan's vows were simple and heartfelt. "Catherine, you walked into my life at exactly the right moment, even though I didn't know I needed you. You've shown me what partnership really means, what love looks like when it's given freely and completely. You've loved my daughter as your own, and watching you become a mother has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. I promise to be your partner, your supporter, your biggest fan for all the days we have." Catherine's vows made everyone cry. "Nathan, you taught me what really matters. You showed me that success isn't measured in corner offices or job titles, but in the life you build and the love you give. You've been patient with me as I've learned how to be a partner, a parent, a person outside of work. You and Lucy are my home, my purpose, my everything. I promise to love you both, to choose this family every single day for the rest of my life." When they kissed as a married couple, Lucy cheered louder than anyone. The reception was joyful and relaxed, everyone dancing and laughing. Nathan danced with Lucy, then with his new wife, then with his mother, who told him how proud she was. "You've built something beautiful," she said, looking over at Catherine, who was dancing with Lucy now. "Despite everything you went through, you stayed open to love. That takes courage." "I got lucky," Nathan said. "You both did." The honeymoon was a week in Hawaii, Lucy included, because neither of them wanted to leave her behind. They built sandcastles and snorkeled and explored, Lucy experiencing the ocean for the first time with wonder. Nathan taught her to body surf while Catherine watched from the beach, taking pictures and smiling. One evening, after Lucy was asleep in the resort room, Nathan and Catherine walked on the beach under the stars. "Do you ever regret it?" Nathan asked. "Giving up the CEO position, moving across the country?" "Never, not once." Catherine stopped, turning to face him. "That job wanted everything from me, Nathan. It wanted all my time, all my energy, all my focus. But this life with you and Lucy, it fills me up instead of draining me. I'm running Meridian from Seattle, and I'm good at it, but it's not everything anymore. You two are everything." Nathan kissed her, tasting salt air and happiness. "I love you so much." "I love you too, both of you." Catherine paused. "Speaking of which, how would you feel about growing our family?" Nathan's heart skipped. "You mean?" I want to have a baby with you, Nathan. If you want that too, Lucy would be an amazing big sister. Nathan picked Catherine up and spun her around, both of them laughing. Yes, yes, I want that. They returned from Hawaii to their real life, but it felt brighter somehow. Nathan had enrolled in night classes, working toward finishing his architecture degree with Catherine's encouragement and financial support. He'd cut back to one job, finally able to breathe a little with Catherine's income helping stabilize their family. Catherine had found balance too, setting boundaries at work that she'd never had before. She made it to Lucy's school events, cooked dinner most nights, and had even started painting again, turning one room in their house into an art studio where she and Lucy would create messy masterpieces together. By Christmas, Catherine was pregnant, and they told Lucy with a special ornament that said, "Big Sister." Lucy's eyes went wide. "I'm getting a baby." "You're getting a sibling," Catherine confirmed, "a little brother or sister." "When?" "Next summer," Nathan said, watching his daughter process this information. Lucy thought for a long moment, then smiled. "Cool. I'll teach them about whales." The pregnancy was easier than Catherine had expected, though she joked that running a corporation was more exhausting than growing a human. Nathan was attentive and excited, attending every appointment, reading pregnancy books, preparing. Lucy adjusted to her role as big sister with enthusiasm, talking to Catherine's belly constantly and planning everything she'd teach the baby. She'd fully embraced Catherine as her mother now, the Mama K dropping to just Mama naturally. "Does it bother you?" Catherine asked Nathan one night. "That Lucy calls me Mama now? Are you kidding? It's the most beautiful thing in the world," Nathan said honestly. "You are her mama. You've earned that title every single day." The baby arrived on a hot July day, a healthy boy they named Oliver. Lucy met her brother in the hospital and was instantly smitten, declaring him wrinkly but cute. Nathan held his son and looked at his family, his wife and both his children, and felt complete. Catherine looked exhausted but radiant. Lucy was chattering about all the things she'd teach Oliver, and Nathan felt tears streaming down his face. "Happy tears, Daddy?" Lucy asked. "The happiest," Nathan confirmed. Life with a newborn was chaotic but joyful. Catherine took her maternity leave seriously, unplugging from work in a way Nathan knew cost her, but that she did without complaint. They navigated sleepless nights and endless diaper changes together, supporting each other through the exhaustion. Lucy was a surprisingly helpful big sister, always wanting to hold Oliver or fetch things for him. She'd sing him songs and show him her toys, explaining in great detail things that he was far too young to understand. "Someday he'll appreciate your whale facts," Catherine assured Lucy with a smile. "I know," Lucy said confidently. "I'm a good teacher." As Oliver grew, so did their family in other ways. Nathan graduated with his architecture degree, walking across the stage with Catherine and both kids cheering. He got a job at a small firm that valued work-life balance, finally building the career he'd always wanted. Catherine had stepped back slightly at Meridian, taking on a different role that gave her more flexibility. She'd realized she didn't need to be CEO to feel successful, that her definition of success had changed entirely. "I measure my life in moments now," she told Nathan on their second anniversary. "Moments like Lucy's first day of first grade, or Oliver's first steps or quiet mornings with you, that's success to me." Nathan kissed her, this woman who'd changed his entire world. "2 years ago, you couldn't read a map," Catherine laughed. "Luckily, I met someone patient enough to help me. Best decision I ever made," Nathan said, helping that lost, frustrated woman with the upside-down map. "Best decision I ever made was accepting help from a struggling dad who saw someone in need and stopped without hesitation." Catherine cupped his face. "You changed my life, Nathan Burke." "We changed each other's lives," Nathan corrected. "We built this together." They stood on their back porch, watching Lucy push Oliver on a swing in the yard they'd slowly transformed. The house they'd bought was truly home now, filled with love and laughter, and the beautiful chaos of family life. Nathan thought back to that morning 2 years ago when he'd been just trying to get through another day, holding Lucy's sticky hand, doing his best to survive. He'd never imagined that stopping to help a stranger would lead to everything he had now. A partner who loved him completely, a full family, a life that felt rich in all the ways that mattered. "What are you thinking?" Catherine asked, leaning against him. "That I'm grateful," Nathan said simply, "for every moment that led us here, even the hard ones, especially those. They taught me what really matters." He turned to face her. "And they led me to you." Catherine kissed him soft and sweet and full of promise. "I love you. I love you too, so much." Lucy called from the yard, needing help with something, and they went together, their hands linked. As they walked, Nathan thought about maps and wrong turns and unexpected journeys. Sometimes the best destinations were ones you never planned for, found only because you were willing to help a stranger read a map, to take a chance on something that seemed impossible. He'd been a struggling dad just trying to survive. Now he was a man with a partner, a family, and a future full of possibility. And it had all started because he'd shown patience to a frustrated woman with an upside-down map and a dead phone battery. Life had a funny way of working out, Nathan thought, gathering his family close. The best kind of funny. Years continued to pass in their house filled with love. Lucy grew into a confident teenager who split her time between marine biology clubs and art classes with Catherine. Oliver became a rambunctious, 8-year-old who idolized his father and loved helping Nathan with home improvement projects. Catherine had eventually transitioned completely out of corporate leadership, using her business expertise to consult part-time while dedicating most of her energy to a nonprofit she'd founded supporting single parents. Nathan's architecture career flourished, his designs earning recognition while he maintained the work-life balance that mattered most. On the 5th anniversary of that fateful morning when Nathan had helped Catherine with a map, they stood in the same downtown Seattle spot where they'd met, having orchestrated a special trip there. "Right here," Catherine said, pointing to the exact corner. "I was completely lost in every way." "And I was just trying to get Lucy to story time," Nathan added, Lucy groaning good-naturedly at the story she'd heard countless times. "Come on, you guys love this story," Oliver said, wise beyond his years. "We do," Nathan confirmed, pulling Catherine close. "It's our beginning." "Our beginning," Catherine agreed, kissing her husband while their children pretended to be grossed out. They walked to the market together, 4 people who'd become a family through patience, love, and one woman's terrible map-reading skills. Nathan held Catherine's hand, Oliver on his shoulders, Lucy chattering about her plans for marine biology camp that summer. This was his life now, Nathan thought with overwhelming gratitude. Not just surviving but truly living, surrounded by love he'd never thought he'd have again. And it had all started with the simplest act of kindness on an ordinary Saturday morning. Sometimes the greatest adventures began with the smallest decisions. Sometimes helping a stranger changed everything. Sometimes the person who seemed completely out of your league was actually the perfect match you never knew you needed. Nathan Burke had stopped to help a woman read a map, and in return, she'd helped him find his way home.